What if you really like the M340i, which I really did, but you wanted in a more compact package, two-door and something with a bigger grille? Well, BMW has the solution for you. Welcome everybody then to the 2025 BMW M440i. This is now the LCI and it has been updated for the 2025 year. As you can see, it has an updated headlight design and a few more changes on the inside. Let's see how this cool sports coupe is. So, the 2025 M440i. Well, the 4 Series always got the controversial grille. It started from the base 4 and even the M4 has the same grille. You might like it or you might hate it, but BMW has stuck with it even for the LCI and they have made some alterations to the grille. The slats on the grille is slightly different to the pre-LCI and you do have an M badge, which I'm not a big fan of because it's not a proper M. In fact, the proper M's also don't get that M badge. They have a proper branding of the model M3 because when I went to pick this car up, there was a LCI M4 parked right beside it, so I got a good visual understanding of the differences between a proper M car and an M Sport car. The headlights are slightly different, so the design is same, but internally the DRL design is different to what the pre-LCI was. I like the pre-LCI more, but this is growing on me. And this also has the laser lights. As you can see, it has the blue elements in the headlight, which is pretty cool. You have some cutouts on the bumper and they're kind of fake vents, which again I'm not a big fan of, but as a whole all the elements work together and I think this look has really grown on me over the years, and this LCI will also continue to just impress me more and more the more I look at it. I also like this color a lot. It's Vegas red metallic and I think it pops really well when it's clean and the sun hits it right. It looks really good. When you come to the side of the M440i is when you realize the real change compared to the M340i. The M340i is the 4-door conventional practical option sedan. This is the 2-door stylish coupe, which I really like. I like the sloping roof on the back. I love the cuts and creases. I like the wide rear haunches as well. Overall, I really like the side profile of this car. Lenses that really cool fastback look. You do also get these lovely looking wheels. These are diamond cut aluminum polished. These also have the M logo again, which I am not a fan of, and as you notice there is an M logo on the fender as well, which it's a bit too much M for me because I know my heart knows that it's not a proper M, so I don't know why BMW puts so many M badges. It's just trying to make this car stand out on the road. Barring that little chink in its armor, the M badges, I really like the design of the front and the side. You can also notice that this has the M Sport brake, so it's bright red and I think it works really well with this paint scheme. Overall, as I said, BMW has been making radical designs off late and this was one of their first experiments, but I feel like it's aged really well and it's something that we all are getting used to. When you come to the rear of the M440i, after adoring the curvy side profile of the car, you'll notice that the rear isn't as controversial as the front. You've got nice cuts and creases. You've got these updated taillights for the LCI and I think they really look good. They're also the same ones that would be available on the M4 and the M4 CS, so that's very cool. You do have a small lip spoiler as well, which breaks the monotony of the rear with the red paint. You do have some badging, so you have M440i X Drive, you have the big BMW logo. You do have sort of like a Ford diffuser on the bottom. You have twin pipes which are functional and they sound really good. Overall, the overhang also isn't that big, so it looks very proportional compared to the side and the front, and overall I think it's a very good looking car. Being a coupe, you'd think that it's not practical, but if you open the boot, you get access to a very big boot and this can easily take all your airport runs, holiday with your family, everything. This boot is much bigger than you think. Makes it very practical, right? Words you don't hear with a coupe. I'm now on the inside of the M440. As you can see, it's a very traditional BMW look. You do have the big curved screen, iDrive 8.5 or 9, I think it's now called, with lots of updates. I think it's a very cool system. It's one of the best infotainment systems I've used in any car of late. The screen resolution is really good. The touch response is top notch and it's very easy to pair your phone, use Apple CarPlay, and even for CarPlay, it uses the whole screen, which I really like. There are some cars that have such big screens, but they use a small screen, which I don't think it appeals too much to me, but this is perfect. You do have the dials as well and you can customize your speedometer dials to change what kind of information you like, which is something very clear and crisp. You do have a heads-up display as well. You do have this new AC vents, which are sometimes a bit tricky to understand to get the airflow to exactly where you want it to be, but it's something you can get used to. What's also new for the LCI is this new 3-spoke flat bottom wheel, which I really like. I like the previous M Sport wheels as well. I've used in a fair few BMWs, but this is the first time I'm using this new wheel and I really like it. It feels very good. The thickness is just perfect, and you do have a red band at the 12 o'clock position as well. Same buttons for the adaptive cruise, the highway assistant or highway drive plus, I think it's called, volume buttons, and you do have this aluminum build look on the bottom, which I really like as well. Again, since this is an M Sport, you do have the M badge as well, which again I'm not a big fan of. The interior is very nice spec, so it's black and red, which I really like. You do have this aluminum finish in the center, and again this is customizable. So for this very car you have this silver finish, which looks very good. Open it, you get a wireless charger and 2 cup holders, and you have a 12-volt socket as well, which is something getting rarer and rarer in cars these days. You do have physical buttons for the seat, track and volumes, and obviously you have the drive mode, start, stop, and this little, I don't even know what to call it, joystick of a gear lever. It's not a proper lever. Again, you do have the trackpad for the iDrive, which if you don't want to use the touch, you can use this rotary knob. You do have some storage in the middle as well with some USB ports. Overall, it's very, very nice. And even the seats, some BMWs off late have been having very hard and uncomfortable seats, but this has been a very pleasant change. I love the seat support, I love the lumbar support, and overall it's very, very comfortable. You sit very low up. You do have a sunroof as well. What can I say? The feel good factor is very, very high in this, and I've not been disappointed because I've been driving a few BMWs off late, and this is right there with the best of the best. It just feels so good. I'm in the rear seat of the M440i, and it is a coupe, but it does have nice rear seats. As you can see, headroom is really not an issue as well, and I can pull in a center armrest to just split the gap between the both passengers. And obviously you do get cup holders as well. A bit finicky, but it just opened. I can fold this seat, and then this goes back to the position that the driver's seat was in, and it comes on its own sweet time. But this driving position is for my driving height. As you can see, I have a lot of space to tuck in my feet. Knee room is really not an issue. Headroom is good for me, but I believe maybe 6-footers might brush their hair against the roof. But yeah, you do have a small window as well. You have AC vents as well. It's not too bad, honestly. Last week I was in another coupe and that was much tighter than this. So this, even though it doesn't have 4 doors, the space isn't really too bad. You do have some storage as well, so it is practical enough to have passengers in the back even for longer journeys. Now behind the wheel of the M440i, so let's get the numbers out of the way. This has the very trusty and the super fast B58 motor. So it is a 3-liter inline 6 turbocharged, produces 380 horsepower, and for the LCI it also has a small mild hybrid system. So yeah, 380 horsepower, the famed X Drive, and the 8-speed ZF box as well. So let's see how this coupe drives. So if I just use the gear and slot into drive, and let me just try to see the launch control. Honestly, I've never used the launch control on this. So if I put into sport, let me just put into sport plus, traction off 1 level, and I put into sport shifter, and if I left foot on the brake, launch control active. Whoa! And that, my friend, is 100. That was, I believe, a 0 to 100 in under 4.5 seconds. I think it's closer to 4.1, 4.2, which is just absolutely insane. And the pull doesn't stop at 100, it just keeps on going. And I'm on a very bad patch of road right now, so as you can see the camera is shaking a bit and I'm bumping a little bit, but this doesn't have the adaptive suspension, so this suspension mode stays whether I'm in comfort or in sport or in eco. But yeah, it just launches like a rocket, and that basically sums up the whole B58 experience. It just has oodles of torque everywhere and anywhere throughout the rev range. But yeah, this ride is still not manageable. Even though this is running on some low profile 19-inch wheels, it's not unmanageable, and you can definitely daily drive. You might have to avoid the odd pothole, but yeah, it's really not unmanageable in any way. I've been driving this car in a whole lot of scenarios and it hasn't disappointed. The steering is very nice. It feels very nice to hold. You have this lovely paddle shifters behind as well, so you can use it to flick it down a gear, 2 gears, 3 gears, Oh, sounds good. I really like the way this motor sounds. It has natural sound, it is a bit pumped in as well, but overall it feels very nice. And if I floor it, and you have the shift lights, and in manual it doesn't auto upshift, and you are in no time way above the speed limit. Honestly, this car, and it masks speed really well, so you are anyways driving way faster than you think you are. It is a very good package. The steering feels very good in sport. It weighs up considerably, so it's very quick. It's very darty. Like if I do a lane change, yep, it just changes lanes so nicely. It's so comfortable, and the seats and the whole combination is so cool. And I forgot to mention, but this car has one cool feature, is when you sit in the car, it extends the seat belt for you, so you don't have to stretch back to fight and get the steering, the seat belt, sorry. But yeah, it just feels good, and I'm on a better surface now, and if I floor it, whoa, wow, it's so good. The steering is good. The only down point I find of this whole driving experience is the brake pedal. I feel the brake pedal is too vague, too wooden, and you never really know how much to press the brake pedal to come to a full stop, or for emergency braking. You often find yourself modulating the brake pedal to understand how much you have to brake. But yeah, that's the only downer. The fuel economy in the city, I've been getting 10.5 liters per 100. Not too bad, because I have been driving in Sport Plus. And if I take a quick U-turn, yep, turning radius is not too bad. But if I floor it, oh, wow. And there are some pops when you upshift and downshift right at red line. Otherwise it's more muted. The M340i had more pops, but those pops are fake. This is genuine. Even if you rev it on the outside, you can hear a bit. Whoa, but it goes oodles of torque. But yeah, as I was saying, the fuel economy in the city is 10.5, which is not bad. I've been driving in Sport Plus. On the highways you can get 6.5 to 7 liters, which is amazing. It's hugely impressive. But yeah, it's just so good. Wow, just oodles of torque, and you never have any shortage of power when you want to overtake or anything. It's just so fabulous. Honestly, I really can't fault the way this car drives. Aside from that brake pedal, it's just spot on. In conclusion then, the 2025 BMW M440i. Honestly, I've really enjoyed this car, and why not? It has strong fundamentals to begin with. It has the very potent B58 motor with the X Drive and the gearbox, which means it's a hoot to drive. I enjoyed the same package in the M340i, which I drove last year, so I had no reason to be disappointed. Personally, I like the coupe silhouette more than the sedan, and honestly, this look on the front end as well, I know it's very controversial, but it's grown on me, and something that I don't mind considering when I have to buy a car. It's practical enough for the rear seats, and the boot is huge as well. It rides decently, handles really well, decently fuel economical as well. Where's the problem? And that's the thing, it's so good at everything it does. I mean, if you want to buy the practical version, the M340i is where it is, because there is no 4-door version available now. I mean, if you want the 4-door coupe look, then you have to buy only the i4, which is the electric version. They did launch briefly not too long ago a celebration edition for the M440i in the Grand Coupe, but I think it was limited to 250 or 500 units, and as you guessed it, it's all sold out. So in the current scenario, if you want to buy a 4 Series with internal combustion power, this is the only body style you can buy at roughly $72,000 Canadian for the base M440i, and this car as tested is $83,000, so it has roughly $11,000 worth of options with the paint, the interior, the advanced driving assist, and the M Sport Pro package. I think it's decent value, because you know cars have become very expensive, and at $83,000 you have a very proven formula with the engine and the dynamics and everything, and it's decently practical. As I showed, the rear seat and the boot, what else do you need? I mean, honestly, I did not expect this car to be so good, because I really like the M340i, but I might now have a new favorite.